Hello everybody, Paul here. Hey, just thought I'd small little update again. Same thing here, we're cleaning all our stuff up. This is actually my last piece I have to clean up here. But just take in mind that this is the right side. There's some shims here. And when you put it back together, you're technically supposed to measure them. Measure the play side to side and adjust accordingly. But we have taken off our end pieces here. You can see here's our cutter head, stripped down bare, except for those things that are still on there. So we take both pieces off. I've gone ahead, cleaned them up. They've done the left-hand side here. And what I'm going to tell you guys here is these bearings. If you take any of this, like I'm trying to just put it back together the way it was. Everything looks good. I don't see any problems anywhere. The bearings are all look just hunky-dory. There was no play when we took it apart. We checked first. But I did, now I'm not going to do it, but you can roll the cage, the outside cage on this bearing to the side. And you can see the rollers and the sides of the rollers and check it all out and just spin it around. But just when you do that, if you do that and it doesn't want to go back together, put your finger underneath this side, whatever's the high side, and there's two rows of rollers. There's a row here and a row here at an angle beside each other. And maybe I'll turn this one just a little bit to show you what I mean. And it's the bottom row rollers might be catching, so just don't force the thing. But yeah, I'm not touching it. But second thing I was going to show you now, since we nicely have, I cleaned everything up too. You clean up this mating surface, clean up the back mating surface there. I took a rag in between here, and because you can move this thing here up and down, there's seals in there, so don't let it hang. Let it sit like this or something is much better. Don't let it hang on the side, because then you're hanging on all the weight on the seal. So don't do that. And oh yes, and I cleaned up this thing. This is that little plastic thing with the twine that was behind it. I cleaned it up best I could. I mean, I'm not going to polish the thing. It's just a thing. But this side has to be clean, obviously. I'll give it another good wipe down before I put it back together. We've cleaned up this plastic thing, which was on the very outside. It came off before the pulley, so it sits somewhere inside that thing. This here. This is our outer half of the bearing shell. And now I just checked the seals. There's one seal in here, right here. Make sure you check it if you're going to reuse it. Just run your finger along the lip here. Just make sure it's okay. Test if it's kind of spongy still, you know, like not brittle or whatever. Don't go nuts on it. And also make sure that darn spring is around there. There's a spring on the back side of every shaft seal usually. Like a circle spring. Make sure it's there. Make sure it's not broken. Make sure it's not rusted. Because that can happen. I've seen that happen before. And then here's our outside half. This is the one I'm still cleaning up. So this one actually had the broken grease nipple here, wherever that thing is here. There it is there. But hang on here. Hold on. There's nothing wrong here. It's just I'm showing you guys. So same thing here. You can see here's the seal. And in here. Then we have this snap ring and stuff. So in between the seal and the snap ring, I was digging in here. And this grease is, I mean, it looks okay. But I'm going to take out this big snap ring. Like you can see that side of it there is completely pitch black. That's no good. Because look what, this is what the grease is supposed to look like brand new. So I'm going to clean this all out. Take the grease out from behind the seals and just put new stuff in there. And away we go. And then I can see I got some rust inside here I got to clean out and polish this surface here too. Clean it up all the way around. I'll just stuff a rag inside there, a dirty rag. That's what this pile of dirty rags here is for. And greasy rags is for cleaning and wiping. And I actually even used the vacuum on the other one because I didn't want to get junk in there. So as I was scraping, I'll take the vacuum, and as I scrape this, I'll just suck it up instead of getting it in the seals when we're using it. So I mean, it doesn't take long. Same even here, this rust spot, I'll just put the vacuum somewhere so that it goes into the vacuum instead of getting in there. because we don't want nothing garbagey in there. So yeah, and if it's a windy, dusty day and you got the shop door open, close it and keep it clean. Okay, I think that's all. Like here, really on this thing, we don't have to do much. Check your play on it, I guess. There's a brass bushing. This one's not brass. The 980 was a brass, but this one's a little different. It's a smooth thing, so I'll have to wipe that down after. I left some grease on it for now, so that I can clean. I'll clean it off right before I put it on with a clean rag. I'm just doing a rough cleaning first, an inspection, and I've seen nothing wrong with anything so far. Everything seems exactly the same, so that's good. But then, yeah, I'll just clean off the sides of that, the other side, the back side, clean it all, everything, spotless. I took a rag and wiped off the back side of the shaft there, on the inside or whatever, clean that all up. I think that's it. And then, in case I don't make another video, well, I'm probably going to make one when we put it together, but, oh, here, don't forget to clean these. All around here, all the way around. I'm going to do the whole thing, clean it right up nice so that when you're working you don't go like this and knock some shit in your bearings. Same on the outside here, I'll clean all this. I'll just polish this with a wire wheel just to get rid of this kind of rust here, and clean inside here as well because that's where it sits. You want everything clean and everything spotless when you're working on these things. The better you are at cleaning and being particular, the longer your machine's going to run and last for you. It's a proven point. It's simple. Why do you think there's these parts here, those parts there, those parts over there, and those parts over there all taken apart everywhere? That's because, yeah, it's got to be 110% when you get going. Because then at least when it does break down, you can say, I did my due diligence, so it's not my fault, unless it is something you forgot, but which hopefully doesn't happen. Oh, yes, right. So when we take out these bolts here, there's 10 on each side. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. It literally took me 2 hours or an hour and a half to get all those bolts out, to be honest, seriously. I ended up using a wrench and stepping on it because I couldn't get, and don't use an impact. And you'll be like, oh, impact, that's easy. No, don't do it. On here is thread locker here, this stuff, and that's the heavy duty intensive stuff from the factory. Now, as you rotate your bolt out, that stuff is real thick and it's almost like paste in there. Well, not paste, it's like dried up stuff. And if you just whip it out with an impact, you're going to pull threads in there. So you turn it till it gets real tough, go back a half a turn, go again some more, another turn, and go back again. Use a wrench. Yes, I know I'm telling you to use wrenches, but there's a reason for that. So, yes, that was almost the whole point of my video, was those bolts. Anything that's assembled, even the bolts on the ends of the shafts that were holding them in, holy. Oh, and speaking of that, yes, that's the other thing. These ones had that assembly lube on them too. And same thing, if you put an impact on there and just whip them out, you'll pull all the threads. Actually, this is what I want to speak about here. Now, we took these out. You saw that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run my finger along the edge here. And anywhere I think on the inside should be okay, but like right here, from trying to get it out, there's some nicks and dings. Just file that down with a file or a grind. Well, you could use a grinder, but use one of those nice wheels. I'll show you what I mean here. Don't use, I'm not going to anyhow. I'm just going to use, and then we got to check this too, the backs of our pulleys, but that's last. I'll show you that wheel I'm talking about here. Something like this. This is more of like a polishing wheel. So that's what I'm going to use for those, because not the one I had in my hands there, but the other one is really bad. Or maybe it is this one. Okay, no, it is this one. This is a real bad one. I kind of dinged it up in a couple of spots. And this is the right one, the smaller of the two. So just make sure this outside edge, ouch, just got a sliver there, right here. That little piece of metal there would have hurt, ouch. But yeah, make sure they're clean and smooth. Clean up the insides of the bores where they go. Just some sandpaper or emery cloth, and you can just use it and wipe it down. The inside the pulley I'm talking. These things I'll give a little buff with that wheel just on the outside edge. So they fit perfect. Same with this one here, because this one goes behind the main drive pulley. And I'll just buff it up. I'm just going to take a wire wheel to it. You can see it's got some rust and stuff on it. So I'll clean it up, put it together. Simple. Even this, I will clean this up a little bit. Doesn't matter what it is. Even the threads of the bolts are going to get polished. That's after I'm done cleaning the grease and that thing on the bench there. Then I'll get out the wire wheel, and I'm going to wire wheel all these bolts here, because these are all our outside bolts plus these ones, right? I might not go crazy where this blue Loctite is. If it's dirty, I will. But where the Loctite is, maybe not. I will be putting blue Loctite on them. And if I have, I'll have to look around. If I have some heavier stuff, I might put heavier stuff on those big bolts. So we'll see. And then we got to look up the torque for them, but I'm guessing those ones are 225. And then those other ones are probably 80. I got to look in the owner's manual. There's a torque chart in there for bolts. So, and cap screws and stuff are different than everything else. I think we're good. And then when I'm done and it's all put together, I'm going to put a grease nipple where those lines are supposed to go with the auto greaser, and I'm going to grease those bearings and turn them if this all works, till I see grease coming out of the inside, and then I'll put on that little half circle thing there that goes on the very inside of the cutter head shafts. So that, because the grease goes to the inside, it gets pushed out to the inside here and here. So you'll always see the fresh grease on the inside, never on the outside of the machine, because that's the way the seals are. The seals let the grease go this way, in, on both sides. So that's what I'm going to do. And that's very important, very important. It's like the most important step of doing anything to this machine when you're working on bearings, is pack them. And if it's got an auto lube thing, that's not meant to fill the housing. By the time you fill the housing, your bearing's burned out. Fill it first, right full, because the auto greaser just keeps giving little bits and little bits and little bits. And yes, you might go through a few hundred hours and you go through 3/4 of the greaser in that thing. Well, how many bearings are on this machine? Anyhow, I got to go here. I really got to get back at it. So it's lunchtime. I'm going to have something to eat. I'm hungry. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.